Is your network ready for this? What if applications and data could connect across multiple clouds as easily as smartphones roam cellular networks? What if built-in security could adapt quickly and intelligently to application behaviors across clouds? What if you could achieve speed, simplicity, and security at the same time? It's time to redefine how your applications are connected, secured, and delivered. It's time for a new network paradigm. It's time for cross-cloud networking.
Good morning and welcome everyone. This is, I know, an early morning show. I had asked for a time later in the day and they tell me no. Networking is so important. It's a fabric that interconnects and makes all GCP applications work. So we want your undivided attention. You get the morning slot. I'm Muninder Sambi, Vice President and General Manager here at Google Cloud for cloud networking. And along with me, I'm going to have my colleague, Nikhil Kelshikar. And we have customers like Walmart, ShareChat, and Alex from Broadcom that will be talking and joining me on stage here. Now, you saw the video. Cloud networking is a thing. It's real, and it's now. And I'm here today in my session very excited to share some news and updates on what Google is doing to address this evolving need of cross-cloud networking with Google Cross-Cloud Network. As you all know, roughly about 64% of enterprises have already deployed multi-cloud strategies. And there's a new inflection point with AI/ML that's going to fundamentally transform not just the way we live, but also how we work in our workspace. AI/ML is going to fundamentally change our entire experience right from the time we get up, we deploy applications, and we go back. With the growth of AI/ML, we believe that fundamentally how you build, deliver, and secure your applications is going to be very different on how it's done today. A very early research from analysts has suggested that 31% of developers are going to look at a new cloud to leverage Gen AI capabilities. So the notion of multi-cloud is going to be much more complex, much more hard to achieve. And we want to make sure we simplify all of this for you. Now, cybersecurity is super important, especially in the cloud. Last year, 76% of enterprises got a breach. And an estimation of about 3.5 million is what an average cost of that breach was for an enterprise. And obviously, depending on the breach and ransomware, it could be north of 100+ million at times. We do believe cybersecurity should be front and center. On an average, Dataproc data says that there's roughly about 560,000 new malware that are seen on a daily basis. You can imagine the volume of cyber attacks, the sophistication of these attacks, because they're using AI/ML technology to create variants faster than what your firewalls, your traditional firewalls can keep up with. And here at Google, we fundamentally believe security should be built in, should not be an afterthought. It should be part of everything that we do. You want to be able to secure it. And network security is fundamental to anything that you do as part of your cloud security. Because network sees all data, all application transactions that go through. And it's the right place to enforce your security policies. Now, today's networks are really not built to meet the needs of AI/ML, multi-cloud, or security. As an enterprise, you've already built out hybrid connectivity paradigms, connecting your data centers, your co-location architectures into the cloud, making it easier for you to migrate on-prem to the cloud. But you've also invested bespoke infrastructure to connect to every cloud that you are using. In addition to that, you're also looking at investing in front ends for your internet-facing applications, whether it be from a cloud provider or from any other caching engine and a variety of other vendors that might be available. Last but not least, your hybrid workforce is the norm. We all are working through a hybrid workforce. How do you make sure that you can apply security policies as you deploy SSE? These are all bespoke networks that individually you have to invest, manage, very cumbersome from an operational perspective. And each of these networks per se has one limiting factor. You either have the best-in-class security and you compromise on application experience, or you try to optimize for application experience and you go with good enough security. And we don't like that. We want to make sure that you do not have any compromise between application experience and security. And because you're building bespoke networks with inconsistent security and the operational burden, your TCO is much higher than what you would have anticipated down the journey. What we would like to introduce today, it's cross-cloud network. It's an open platform. It provides you ML-powered security that's built in with everything that you do, and it's performance optimized to ensure that your application gets the best experience, whether it's for users that are connecting to your e-commerce websites, or for your users, your employees, connecting to private apps that are hosted in cloud, or SaaS applications that you might be consuming. The cross-cloud network is an open platform that helps you secure, provide consistent security, as well as lower your TCO. Sorry. It's an open platform because you can bring in any vendor, any ecosystem partner that you're working with, and engage that partner as part of this journey. We're not asking you to rip and replace your existing infrastructure or your existing security vendor. You can bring it onto the platform. You can use the same security policies that you're used to and apply them in the cloud. It's an open platform because all developers want to be able to extract the complexity of networking and move to a services networking layer to stitch service A to communicate to service B in a secure and simple manner. Consistent security, we want to provide consistent security across all the three use cases that I talked about, whether it be co-location and your applications connecting to the cloud, whether it be your front ends, or it be hybrid workforce that's actually accessing internet, SaaS, and private applications. And we can do all of this because it's backed by Google's largest backbone, the planet scale network that we have. Let me tell you what the planet scale network is all about. All Google services that you see, search, YouTube, and the niceness of all the Google services that we offer runs on this backbone. It has the largest global footprint that you can find. 38 regions, 187 network edges, subsea cable investments that we've done. There's billions and billions of dollars that we have spent. We have 200 plus countries and territories where we actually have edge locations to host and provide you that experience from a global application perspective. The same network that is powering all of Google services can now be leveraged by our customers for their own infrastructure, which is high performance, scale, and application optimized. Imagine 5 times the size of the internet at your fingertips. That's what the Google backbone has to offer. As we embark on the journey of cross-cloud network, there are 3 major use cases that we are going to be focusing on. How do you build distributed applications and make it simple when you're interconnecting your clouds? How do you deliver some of these applications from an internet-facing through a global front-end use case? And along the way, how do you secure access for your hybrid workforce? So I'm going to go into each one of these use cases in a bit more detail. I talked about the bespoke networks that you're building, and you see the network diagram with co-location or data centers that are actually connecting into the cloud and multiple clouds, making it extremely complex as well as a much higher TCO. With cross-cloud network, we will now be able to provide you on-demand, any-to-any connectivity, where you can actually connect AWS, Azure, and the likes of others directly into Google Cloud without having to invest in physical infrastructure and manage that lifecycle of the infrastructure. We'll be able to provide you 20 times higher threat efficacy along the way. Whether your application from Cloud A is trying to connect to a VM or a GKE cluster in GCP, you can simply and easily add in a firewall and connect to it. Along these lines, we will also be able to provide 40% TCO savings. Now, how do we do this? You see a list of products that we are introducing. The first one being cross-cloud network interconnect. This is a managed interconnect that we're providing with an SLA backed. It's secure. It comes in various variants of 10 gig and 100 gigs and multiples of it, depending on how much traffic and data that you're looking to move. We also have the customers who are backing it up with Walmart, Fortune 1, and obviously Yahoo Mail. And I'll talk about what each one of these customers are doing. When you look at this particular infrastructure, we want to make sure that you're leveraging the power of what cross-cloud network has to build. Each one of these products, even though they're unique innovations, they're all tied together, making it simple and easy and consistent for you to use cross-cloud network. Obviously, we can't do this alone. We have partners like BT and Equinix. BT, obviously, we partner a lot as we build out our global backbone in order to provide you high performance and scale globally. We also have the likes of Yahoo Mail, and you might have seen this in Thomas's keynote yesterday. Hundreds and millions of mailboxes, and the amount of data that they're going to be moving into the cloud is not possible without actually having a direct connect between the clouds and ensuring that it's SLA backed and secure along the way. I'm sure a lot of you use Yahoo Mail, and as you use Yahoo Mail, I'm sure you're worried about what happens to my data. Now, there is a modern way for actually delivering some of these applications. We recommend, in our opinion, from a Google perspective, that the services-based architecture is the best. With Private Service Connect, you can actually have a producer and a consumer construct, and you can seamlessly abstract the underlying complexity of networking and connect to any SaaS application, whether it be Vertex AI, it be Spanner, Cloud SQL is something that we just announced earlier this week, the likes of AlloyDB and others. Now, this is a very simple way for you to connect your producers and consumers. The producers could be in any other cloud, could be on-prem, and could seamlessly connect into a GCP service. Not only that, we have an open ecosystem with MongoDB, Snowflake, and the likes of others, that if you would like to use in GCP, you can connect your applications that might be hosted in any other cloud. We fundamentally believe we have to meet the customer in the journey of cloud, and every customer has a different journey. I'm sure some of you started with different clouds and started developing applications. It's hard to move those applications, but you want to use the goodness of what Google has to offer and the open ecosystem that we offer with our partners and seamlessly connect back into your applications. Especially around Vertex AI, I'm sure you saw the demo yesterday, super exciting. So how do you leverage the power of AI/ML and the innovation that Google brings and leverage it for the application that you've already developed? Obviously, there might be some customers who might say, I don't like the producer-consumer construct. You can also do the same and achieve the same through an application load balancer. And obviously, for folks who are hardcore networking, they like routing, we offer that too with our NCC product family. You can do route exchanges, you can address any overlapping addresses that might be, and we can now interconnect your on-prem, your clouds, or other categories as well. Now, I talked about how important security is, so we're really pleased to announce Cloud NGFW, which provides 20 times higher threat efficacy than anyone else in the industry from a cloud perspective. This was a test that we ran with critical, high, and medium vulnerabilities across exploits, command and control, as well as malware. And we have a very high efficacy that we see. Not only did we get the best intelligence from Mandiant as well as our partner, Palo Alto Networks, we also made it very simple. We have now offering high-performance TLS decryption in our data plane without any impact to the firewall, because we've taken that function and embedded it into our virtual stack. You can integrate this particular firewall without having to make any routing changes. And I'm sure you've all struggled as network engineers on, if I need to deploy a firewall and I need to comply with my security policies as an enterprise, how do I do that? Easily and simply. And we're absolutely be able to offer that as well. We also allow you to do tag-based policies. You can tag a workload or a database store, and you can say this particular store applies with security policy A, and we will automatically take care of that. I'm also very pleased to announce we are the first ones in the industry to actually announce something beyond what a Cloud NGFW would do around network security posture control. This is basically being able to apply security policies at an org level so that you have individual projects that your different business units might be adhering to. Each one of them get consistent policy and cannot change that particular policy because that's controlled. At the same time, we also provide IAM provision tags and a layered incident report for SOC. We're really pleased with what we have done here from a security perspective, making it simple, consistent, and easy for you to be able to connect distributed applications from any cloud or on-prem to leverage the services that GCP has to offer. With this, I'll invite Gerald and Nikhil to come join me on stage. Good morning, Gerald.
Good morning. Thanks for having us here.
Yes, so everyone knows Walmart, largest retailer in the world, Fortune 1 company. We're really happy to have Gerald here on stage. I just want to start off, Gerald, I'm sure the public here would like to know, what is Walmart's cloud strategy and how is it evolving?
Sure. So as many know, we went on this journey of the multi-cloud. The multi-cloud journey is the multi-cloud setup that we have is basically 3 cloud service providers across 3 regions across the US. So we go across the West region, the Central region, and the East region, right? The whole aim of this is to enable our customers to move workloads and place them in places in the cloud service providers that enables best of breed services. It provides low latency, provides better application performance. So we leveraged our private cloud, which is a fairly large size of about 1 million CPU cores plus. We use Google Cloud Platform, and we use a third-party cloud service provider as well. So that's a little short summary of our multi-cloud strategy, which goes across the 3 regions.
That's a very complex cloud strategy. I'm sure working with different vendors, it's very hard to stitch all of this together. What are the challenges that you've seen that have inhibited you to accelerate your speed of innovation?
That's correct. It is challenging. Our goal, the main goal of the multi-cloud strategy is to accelerate innovation and provide value to our customers in the stores and online, right? With stable and high reliability numbers. So that was our main goal, to go in this direction. The challenges we were running into is we set up our private clouds very strategically across the US, close to our customers, right? So we wanted to reduce the latency. So now from the private clouds, we could reach the connectivity to Google or the connectivity to the public clouds. We have the private connectivity available, right, with interconnects. The challenge came where you have to go public cloud to public cloud interconnectability. And our goal was to keep it at low latency so that our customers are not impacted with latency, right? So that was one of the challenges. And then the other one was when you're going from the old way, which we had, was you had to go from one cloud provider to our POP or point of presence, and then hook back into the other cloud provider, right? So you're going around this hairpin, which created latency, plus you're having the additional of managing your POPs, the egress cost, all that adds up.
Wow.
So Gerald, that's when you reached out to us and we started working on cross-cloud interconnect. And you were one of the earliest adopters of this product. So tell me what was valuable in that partnership and how is Walmart leveraging this?
Sure. So yes, we reached out to you guys and it was super helpful. The collaboration was great. We wanted to go from a public cloud provider to Google directly by avoiding the hop. So this helped us to reduce the latency. It gives us a solid reliability of 99.99%, plus it reduces the cost for us, and it helps one hop and an egress coming out from our POP. So all in all, this helps us a whole lot right now, and we can do this across the region. So we do this in East, West, and Central.
All right, thank you. You heard Muninder talk about cross-cloud network. You have seen the presentation. You have a little bit of a preview. how are you going to take advantage of some of the other new capabilities like PSC and security and all of these in your roadmap going forward? What are your thoughts?
So when we built this connectivity between the clouds, our goal was not to just use it for network, right? So we want to leverage and push the bar, or raise the bar, I would say. So now we plan to use this for storage. We plan to use this for the new Google APIs that are being released out to go across the cloud providers. And we also plan to use this for all the AI, ML data that goes across these clouds. So as you guys release more services, we're going to keep pushing it.
Perfect. Thank you, Gerald.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Nikhil?
Thanks, Gerald. Looking forward to the partnership. So
Nikhil, like everyone here probably is wondering, hey, cross-cloud networking is a thing. Is it real? Can I see a demo?
yes, absolutely. Thank you, Muninder. So as you talked about cross-cloud networking, Vertex AI, and everything, and I'm going to try to bring this to life. Let me set up the demo. It's a recording. But what we are going to see is we have an application running in EC2, which is going to call a Vertex AI backend over the internet first, and then we are going to migrate that application and make it work over a cross-cloud network so you can do this privately. So with that in mind, let's take a look. First, I'm just entering my name, and I'm asking the model through this chatbot. This is actually running in EC2 at this point. Who are you? It is actually responds back saying that it's the Palm 2 model running in Vertex AI on GCP. Let's ask it to write a poem about cloud networking. Of course, this person is thinking and has written some rhymes, which, if you are careful, LL Cool J will be rhyming to later tonight at the party. So make sure you go to the party. So now that we've seen that, we're going to migrate this over to cross-cloud networking. What we are going to do is you have AWS, we have a cross-cloud interconnect in between, a PSC endpoint which talks to Vertex AI. You need to do this so you can actually privately move the data from where closest to the, so that it can learn and be able to deliver this securely. Now, once this is all set up, we have actually accelerated it, and I'm going to walk you through a couple of screens. AWS console, where you have a direct connect running in Frankfurt region. This is in AWS. It is pre-configured. If we try to do it in real time, it will take time. And in the Google console, we have a corresponding interconnect port, which is also in Frankfurt region. We have established BGP sessions between both of these so that you can now communicate directly from GCP to AWS. We can do this over CCI even with Azure, OCI, and others. And now that it is done, we are going to set up a PSC endpoint. We reserve an IP address for Private Service Connect, which can be used for this particular application. Once that IP address is reserved, we actually set up the PSC forwarding rule to Vertex AI. And that's the next command. Once that is done, we should have connectivity between GCP and EC2 instance, which can now privately over CCI connect and reach out to Vertex AI. So all the communication is secure and done over a high bandwidth SLA-backed network. We'll flip over to the AWS console where you have a route back to the 10.10 network, the private network RFC 1918 network, back to the GCP forwarding rule. And now, to conclude, let's ask it to write another poem about cross-cloud networking this time. And there you go. So what you have seen is that we can establish private connectivity to GCP from any cloud and allow high bandwidth SLA-backed capability so you can move the data to where the application or the SaaS service resides and be able to deliver this in a very efficient manner. And that brings cross-cloud network to life.
Perfect. This is awesome. Big round of
Muninder.
applause for Nikhil and Gerald. If you're looking to write poems using Vertex AI or develop new applications, you can do it in a much simpler and easy way, which we believe is the modern way of what networking would look like in the cloud. Do keep in mind, like, this is just the start of a journey. And as Nikhil pointed out, it is so easy to establish connectivity as a producer-consumer construct using PSE, not having to worry about underlying complex infrastructures, route exchanges. I mean, those are important, But this is a much more easier, simpler way of providing the service. Now, coming to my next use case, we're going to deliver front-end applications. How do you do that? You have multiple front ends when you're looking to go global, capacity reasons, capability reasons, and you might have multiple vendors that you're working with. We want to be able to introduce a cross-cloud network that actually delivers the global front end with ML-powered security, our Cloud Armor product, the first in the industry to actually have being able to leverage ML models to be able to protect against massive DDoS attacks. And you might have seen some announcements that we've done in the last couple of 12 months. You also hear Broadcom at the show theater actually talk about how Cloud Armor has helped them prevent many of these DDoS attacks. So please go listen to them. You'll realize what the value we are bringing and how our ML models are able to mitigate some of these attacks. The second biggest advantage, obviously, is 40% cost saving. As you consolidate this multi-product from CDN to global load balancer to the ability for supporting ML-powered security with Cloud Armor, you can now consolidate all these capabilities into a single unit and be able to consume it globally at the global backbone footprint that Google has to offer. We also invested a lot in terms of customization and programmability. Because we fundamentally believe that every customer is different. Even though you might have a web application, based on your vertical needs, you want to be able to have that level of customization for your web application. So we're very pleased to announce the service extension capability on our global load balancer. It allows you to inherit and customize your web application and be at a data plane level, seamlessly being able to integrate it with any third-party offering that might be there. So you see partner solutions from a security logging monitoring. You can do customization from a message transformation or traffic routing. We're partnering with Human, Traceable, Bright Insight, and LandisGear. This is amazing as you bring all of this together with the programmability capability and making it easier. So I would like to now invite our ShareChat customer, Gaurav, to come on stage and give us a brief overview. Welcome, Gaurav. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Excited for you to be here. I know you flew all the way from India. As many of you might not know, I think it'll be helpful, Gaurav, if you could just explain what ShareChat is about and the level of scale and performance that you have seen in terms of subscribers and the complexity in your business.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Muninder. Thanks for delighted to be here. So ShareChat is basically India's largest homegrown social network. We are humbled that every month more than 350 million users come to us to share content, express, discover trends, opportunities, and then build communities. And we have been on this journey with GCP for a long time, and really excited to be part of it. Yeah.
And I think ShareChat, I mean, the level of scale, the level of subscribers you can see, you need a backbone. You need the platform and the global edges that are globally available. Can you tell me something more about your architecture? Because the level of scale that you're operating at, there's a very few companies, just like the Fortune 1, Walmart, complexity in distributed applications. How does your architecture have to evolve? How is it today, and how does it have to evolve?
Yeah. So one of the unique things about ShareChat as a social network is that what we allow the users to do is engage with the platform in the language that they're most comfortable in. Right. So we support 15 different languages. Indian languages. And essentially what happens is that when you look at the scale, we're talking about serving close to 300 billion video views, and so massive scale, we're talking about like 500,000 requests per second at our peak. So the core infrastructure, the backend is built on microservices running in GKE. We use both Google managed services as well as self-hosted services. On the client side, of course, it's Android, iOS, web applications. But more importantly, at that scale, the content delivery is a very important problem that we have had to solve. So the way we've solved this is we've got multiple different CDN vendors that we work with. Google Media CDN being one of the key pillars. And it's a very unique and challenging problem in the sense that we've got users who are coming on a very poor network, maybe from some remote village. from a $50 device all the way to like, $1,500 iPhone. So there is a huge range of device types, network types. And so what we do is we've built a system where in real time, we detect how different CDNs are performing. We continuously monitor them. And then based on the network or the ISP that the user is coming from, their IP and geolocation, and what kind of performance they're getting on a different CDN, we dynamically route them to those to the best CDN that's possible. Because as you can imagine, for us, the user experience, and our content is text, video, short-form video, long-form video, images. Some of the key metrics really drive the user experience and the user retention. So how quickly a video plays, what the buffering is like, what the error rate is like, all those have a very direct impact on our user experience and consequently our business metrics, right? So we have seen that even 20 millisecond differences will cause users to drop off, and so we've really optimized for that around. And Cloud CDN has been one of our great partners on their media CDN.
And we do appreciate it. I mean, this is amazing that your entire business model works on ensuring that the experience is met, right? It's amazing. Like, you heard about Cross Cloud Network. You saw what I talked about in terms of global front end. How do you see your roadmap evolving?
Yeah, so for us, I think the main thing, when we look at ourselves as a business, it's all about, user engagement, user growth. So there's a lot of innovation happening there. But there is also a very important element of building a business which is very cost efficient. And we want to get the best of breed from all the different cloud vendors. And so in that sense, cross-cloud networking fits in really well because we've looked at, we've been multi-cloud from a cloud CDN's viewpoint. But from the point of view of other workloads, that's something we want to experiment with very active. So I'm quite excited about cloud, cross-cloud. Of course, being, custodian of a lot of the users' information, we definitely, take security very seriously. So I'm very excited about, the simplification that a lot of the services that you've talked about will bring in here. So that's an important area for us as well. And in general, compute and scaling at a very cost-efficient manner is an important aspect for us because that really helps us build a strong business where the cost to serve the user is contained and the users get a very good experience. Yeah.
Perfect. This is really helpful. As you heard, like share chat, social media, whether it be VODs, live streaming, super apps, whether you're trying to do shorts. User experience is so damn important to get this right, and security along the way is going to be really important. So if you have similar applications where experience is important, cross-cloud network can definitely help you make it sure that the delivery for the application is optimal, it's secured along the way, and if you have to customize your application with any third party, we absolutely allow that as an open ecosystem. Big round of applause for Gaurav, and thank you, Gaurav. Going to my third use case, this is about hybrid workforce. We want to make sure we extend the same level of capabilities to our hybrid workforce, whether they're working from a remote user, from a branch or a campus, interconnecting through your co-location or through your data centers. Now here, we obviously want to build on the open ecosystem that we have. Today, whenever you're trying to deliver this service for your employees, you have to choose between security and application experience. It's very hard. I mean, these are employees, and they result in direct productivity impact if the application experience is not that great. Especially as more and more applications get into a SaaS form, how do you provide that seamless security that can go with the user independent of where he or she connects from? We're very pleased to announce some partnerships here. From our SSE stack, we have Palo Alto Networks with Prisma Access that is now hosted, and it's almost in terms of thinking of it in your VPC. So not only are you deploying it for app-to-app communication, you can now also extend that to be able to deploy for user to app or user to internet or user to SaaS kind of an application. We also work with other NGFW vendors so that we know for a fact there might be customers in different journeys. They might be looking at an SSE stack, while at other times you might be looking at a traditional NGFW stack. We partner with the market leaders, starting from Fortinet, Cisco, Palo Alto Networks, as well as Checkpoint. And the challenge obviously is, how do I connect my branches and bring that traffic and land that traffic onto the GCP network? And we work with all SD-WAN vendors. Any branch, any router that you might have, whether it be from Cisco, from Juniper, and the likes of others, we can bring and onboard that and seamlessly integrate. And we've launched this about 2 years ago with the SD-WAN integrations as well. Open ecosystem, the advantage you get is consistent security. At the same time, you get 35% improvement in user experience. And that's predominantly because, depending on where the SaaS application is hosted, it traverses the Google backbone, which is secure, high performance, and globally available. Internet, on the other hand, you can do this very similarly across the internet. It's unreliable. You don't actually have an SLA. Security, you will have to put your own security hooks. And it's unpredictable. So with this cross-cloud network, you can now bring in your hybrid workforce and give them the same level of experience that you'd want. And with this, I would like to invite one of our partners that we've been working very closely with, Alex from Symantec by Broadcom. Good morning, Alex.
Morning, Muninder. How's it going?
It's going good. As you can see, I'm sure our audience is wondering, hey, we've started on this journey of cross-cloud network, how important hybrid workforce is. If you can just outline, like at Broadcom, how you are looking to secure with your SSE stack, the hybrid workforce, and how you can provide consistent security with no compromise to application experience.
As we go into that discussion, I kind of want to talk a little bit about how we even got here in the last 4 years, right? You can't talk about the current implementation and the desire for a lot of large enterprise organizations without talking about what happened 4 years ago. Prior to 4 years ago, everybody was on a path to digital transformation. But COVID hit, and it got rapidly accelerated. So 4 years ago, you heard a lot about Zero Trust, SASE, and then subsequently SSE. And that was really to take the workforce remote and be able to implement security controls with a great user experience in the same way that hub and spoke security had existed for probably over a decade prior to that. Now, as we move 4 years forward to the present, everybody's coming back on premises, but not fully, right? The new normal is hybrid. And the challenge there is really taking a look at what was implemented from a hub and spoke perspective, as well as a cloud-centric implementation for security, and really combining them. Because the biggest challenge for our customers, for all customers, or all users, is that when you are trying to implement security, the biggest enemy to that is complexity. When your applications are sitting within DCs, sitting in SaaS, sitting in private data centers, sitting in public cloud, and you're implementing security measures with different types of policies and different types of products and different paths from a network perspective, it causes, that complexity causes abilities to enable those 74% of breaches for organizations. So that's how we have been approaching it at Symantec over the last 4 years, was implementing SASE and SSE in such a way that enabled our customers to be able to implement the same policy controls and visibility regardless of where those applications have been. With CCN, that accelerates it. CCN is effectively SASE on steroids. The ability to have a single stack sitting there that allows you to traffic cop your network, and then having your single security policy, set of security policies, whether they're data or threat, hanging off of that, regardless of where your applications are and regardless of where your users are, is very powerful.
I like your tagline. CCN enables SASE on steroids with no compromise to application experience. Now, we can't end the talk unless we talk about AI/ML. Yeah. You heard about all the goodness and the innovations that we're bringing from an AI/ML perspective. Mm-hmm. Do you have any plans to use some of this in your product to enhance that user experience and the security efficacy to our customers?
Absolutely. Symantec has been at the forefront of AI/ML over the last 2 decades. We introduced things around data security using vector machine learning. more than a decade ago. The idea now is really taking it to the next level, right? You know your threat actors are already looking at things like generative AI to really kind of just accelerate their ability to put out malware and such. On the flip side, all of the security vendors, including Symantec, are also looking at that to help protect against it. And so being able to leverage the partnership that we have with Google, again, another history lesson after Google joined Broadcom, we moved our entire infrastructure to Google. Symantec is 100% Google, a Google Cloud customer as well as a partner. And because of that, we're able to leverage a lot of those technologies, and we've been working with Google over the last, I would say, 9 months, specifically on SecPalm. And so we're really excited. Can't quite announce it just yet, but next month we're going to be announcing our ability to our Symantec AI, which is built upon SecPalm.
That is exactly what we want our customers. I'm sure everyone's wondering here. SecPalm is going to be a real big example of how our customers are using the goodness of what Google has to offer from an AI ML perspective, integrate it into their products, and offer the best of breed capabilities.
And it hangs right off of CCN.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Alex.
All right. Thank you.
I like what Gerald ended with. CCN enables SASE on steroids. Consistent security, no compromise to application experience. Now, in summary, cross-cloud network, obviously, we can have up to 35% user experience, up to 40% lower total cost of ownership, with no compromise to security, with 20 times higher threat efficacy than ever before. We also have Priceline that you might hear in future, some of the other keynotes. They'll talk about how they're leveraging cross-cloud networking and how important it is, and they're going to leverage some of the capabilities that I talked about in their infrastructure as well. In addition to cross-cloud network, we also have a bunch of new innovations. I think yesterday you might have heard Thomas talk about Titanium offload system that basically provides high performance for C3 VM family. We have other innovations that are coming in flight that we are announcing and launching. They obviously help you make your cross-cloud infrastructure much more simpler and easy and consistent to use. Now, the future of cross-cloud networking is simple. We believe that it's all about simplicity and having the network to meet your needs wherever and whenever you need it. And that's the role of the network. Everyone will need cross-cloud networking, and Google Cross-Cloud Network gets you there faster, helps you innovate faster, helps you deploy application experience with no compromise to security. Last, in closing, I just want to point out Google Cross-Cloud Network, the right way to network your cloud. It's a new way to cloud. And I'm sure you're wondering, what can I do next? My key takeaway would be cross-cloud network and open platform with ML-powered security and performance optimized. There are additional tracks that go into details of each one of these use cases that I would encourage all of you to go visit and learn. And lastly, we understand that every customer is in a different journey in the cloud. And we are here to help and answer your questions. We would love to co-develop many of these capabilities that I talked about, because this is a start of a new era in cloud networking. And we believe cross-cloud network and networking is going to be real. It's a thing. It's now. And we want to partner with each one of you as we develop the next phases of cross-cloud network. So we are actually announcing something where we want to partner and co-develop with our customers. We want to understand your needs, your journey, to ensure that we develop innovations that can help you accelerate your speed of innovation with no compromise to security and application experience. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending the session.